Central Time. All right. I'm Alex Lloyd, and I'm really excited. We've been working on this program. We call it the 97% Success Solution. Oh, first of all, I better do a disclaimer. The 97% solution is not intended to treat, heal, cure, diagnose any health issue, anything like that, okay? Everything we do is based on healing or empowering the underlying spiritual issues. And I don't mean religious. I mean issues like love, joy, and peace versus fear, anxiety, worry, anger, those kind of spiritual issues, okay? So let me give you a little bit of history. And some of you know this already, and I'm sorry, but not everyone does. So I'm going to do the brief version and then open it up for questions, comments, whatever. All right. So in 2001, we started the Healing Codes, and I walked away from my private practice. My wife and I started the Healing Codes out of our basement with very little money, never a nickel of advertising till about the last 3 years. And we knew we would sink or swim based on word of mouth, and that was fine with us. That's really the way we wanted it. And we thought that would be great, actually, because this thing was working so well. And we had already decided, Hope and I, okay, at this point, we'll sell our second car. At this point, we had a little jet ski. We'd take our son, Harry. We had one son then. We'd go to the lake. We love to do that. At this point, we'll sell the jet ski. At this point, we'll sell the house and move to a smaller house. And we were okay with all of that because we really felt we'd been called by God to do what we were doing. And I had my undergraduate degree was in ministry, and I did full-time ministry for 10 years after that before I went back to graduate school for psychology because of Hope's depression. So we never had to sell anything. And about 3 years later, we had people coming at us from all over the world, and we couldn't keep up. And we started having people who had been clients of ours for health who were now wanting us to work with them for success, for their job, for making more money, for being more at peace, finding their passion, stuff like that. And I really didn't want to do it because we were already overwhelmed and couldn't keep up. And that wasn't really my area anyway. But I decided that regardless, I needed to find a place to refer my people for that sort of thing if we weren't going to do it. So I read books, I did programs, the most expensive programs in the world. I didn't have to pay for them because they were hoping I would refer people to them. Some of them were $10,000, $20,000. One of them was $30,000. Unbelievable. I never would have paid that. And at the end of 3 years, I came to the conclusion that they didn't work. Virtually none of them worked. And it was really a weird, disheartening thing for me because it's a multi-billion-dollar industry. And I ended up talking to the CEO of the largest success company in the United States. They passed Tony Robbins years before. And they'd invited me to be a keynote speaker at one of their events, and I really enjoyed it. And I sort of hit it off with the CEO while I was there. By the way, we had the biggest response of anybody there by far. Later, I called the CEO again when I was going through this search, and I told him what I'd discovered, and he started whispering. And I thought, this is really weird. Why is he whispering? I said, is somebody there with you? Are you in public? No, I'm in my office with the door locked. And he's still whispering. And he said, what you figured out is our dirty little secret. And I said, what? What's your dirty little secret? And he said, well, it's that we have, and the entire industry, including our company, that's the #1 in the world, has about a 97% failure rate, but we get enough testimonials from the 3% that it makes it look like everyone's succeeding, when in reality, they are rarely anybody is succeeding. And he said, in fact, we think that probably the 3% that do succeed, they would have succeeded anyway. And he very shortly after that resigned from that company. And what he told me is, I just can't do it anymore. My conscience won't let me do it anymore. And what I discovered is that basically all of these programs, and search this out for yourself, and there's hundreds, thousands of them, they all boil down to 3 steps. #1, decide what you want. And that's usually what they say, whatever you want most, without any filtering or anything. #2, develop a plan to get what you want and revise that as needed as you go along. And #3, with your willpower, never give up until you get what you want. That's it. Now, some of them will dress it up and say ours has 10 steps or whatever, but they really all boil down to that. Almost all, I shouldn't say all, probably 99% of them boil down to that. And you're thinking right now the same thing I was when I started going through them in that first year is, but wait a minute, that makes sense. That sounds like it should work. Decide what you want, tweak the plan as needed, do it with your willpower, never give up until you get it. It does. It sounds like it should work, but it doesn't, because real success is a paradox. You have to give something up in order to get, and it's not necessarily just what you want, it's what's right and best for you. Okay? So anyway, after 3 years, and I couldn't find a place to refer people to, and so I decided, okay, let me see if I can figure out why this 3-step thing doesn't work, and see if I can figure out what will work. And it took me about another 3 years, but I did. And to prove to you that it doesn't work, step 1 and 2, decide what you want and develop a plan to get what you want, tweak it as needed. That's expectation, okay? Plain and simple, no way around it. It's taking ownership of something in the future that's not completely under your control. And Dr. Dan Gilbert at Harvard University, who you see on TV commercials now, a lot of insurance commercials, and I've had some contact with him, and I think he's a wonderful man, does great work. He did original study on the campus at Harvard, and they proved why this 3-step blueprint doesn't work. That if you have a goal that involves an expectation of something in the future that you're taking ownership of, that you don't have complete control over, the instant you do that, it puts you into physiological stress. The instant. Okay, Dr. Gilbert, for how long? Good question. For as long as you have that goal. Wow. For a lot of people, that's years. For some people, it's their entire adult life. So you mean this thing called stress that's suppressing your immune system, and it's where your negative emotions come from, where your negative feelings come from, where your negative actions come from, it's where illness and disease comes from. You mean I'm doing that to myself because of the way I'm trying to be successful? Yes, you are, if you're following these 3 steps. Now, the 3rd step is not expectation, it's willpower. With your willpower, never give up until you get it. Well, Dr. Bruce Lipton, who's a friend of mine, we've done joint programs together. His research at Stanford and the University of Wisconsin, what he says about that is, if you're trying to be successful at something that you've not been able to be successful at before, by willpower, your odds of doing that are basically 1,000,000 to 1. 1,000,000 to 1. So steps 1 and 2 is expectation. Step 3 is willpower. Okay. And all three of those take you to failure, not success. In fact, if you were going to succeed anyway, and you start doing that 3-step blueprint, you'll go from succeeding to failure. Why? Because it's putting you into stress, and stress is what causes our failure with our health, with our relationships, with our work and career, with everything. So even though the 3 steps sound right and make sense that should work, they don't. So how can I explain that? That they sound right, but they're not right. They're right for a 5-year-old. Okay? For a 5-year-old, they work. Okay? And I can remember that as a 5-year-old. I want an ice cream from the ice cream truck that comes around the neighborhood at 3 o'clock in the afternoon in the summer, and they're playing this music. You don't see those today. But in our little small town where I grew up, every summer it came around every day. And so I'd go to my mom, hey, can I have a nickel for an ice cream? That shit tells you how old I am, that an ice cream was a nickel, but it was then. And so I go to my mom, okay, 5 years old. Hey, mom, can I have a nickel for an ice cream? No, it'll ruin your supper. It's something my mom might have said. She would have been nice about it. Shoot. Okay, so step number 1, what I want is the ice cream. Step number 2, get a plan, put the plan into action, change the plan as needed. So I go back to mom. Mom, what if I clean my room? Can I have a nickel for an ice cream? And I never cleaned my room. Now my mom's thinking, okay, So she comes back. Okay, Alex, if you clean your room and the playroom, I'll give you a nickel for an ice cream. My response, done. And so I clean my room, clean the playroom, get my nickel, go get an ice cream. Success, right? Yeah. For a 5-year-old. But when we become an adult, one thing the Bible says is when I was a child, I talked like a child, I thought like a child, I acted like a child. But when I became a man or a woman, I put away childish things. Okay, so as an adult, we're not supposed to just go on what I want from my emotions and feelings and watching TV commercials and seeing what my neighbors have and being envious and, picturing myself being rich with my feet up, watching a big TV. And no, we're supposed to decide what is right, what is good, what is best, what is win-win-win for everyone concerned with no losers, what is in truth and love instead of seek pleasure and avoid pain. That's what we're supposed to do, okay? Well, to me, the 3-step blueprint of success over the last 80 years has been the 5-year-old success plan, not the adult success plan. And once we are an adult, our wiring changes, literally, in our mind and brain and even our body, okay? Our brain doesn't quit growing even until we're 25. Okay, our brain is not fully developed to 25. All right. So when it is, and when we're an adult, we're supposed to start thinking and acting that way, not just on the basis of what I want, getting what I want, and never giving up until I get what I want, which is basically what the success world has been charging people billions and billions of dollars every single year with a 97% failure rate. Okay, so I started a program called the Success Codes, and we still sell that. I think it's about $200, and it's a great program, and it works. But here's the problem. Well, it's not a problem. It's just I think we've gotten to something better now. In the Success Codes, I think there's 24 codes. And they're Healing Code only, not Healing Code and Trilogy. All right. And so the plan works, but you've got to find the particular area and issue, one of those 24, to clear away the junk and then infuse the positive that'll take you organically, like the rudder on a boat, toward success. And it works great. In fact, what I've heard from people for about 15 years since I've been doing this is it was so easy. I tried so hard to make more money. I tried so hard to get a promotion at work. I tried so hard. And by the way, my definition of success is not just money or job. It's whatever is of value to you. Success, the way I'm talking about it, can be a relationship. It can be cleaning out a closet that you've been trying to clean out for 5 years and you just can't get yourself to do it. It can be being stuck, getting you unstuck. It can be a passion that you have. Like, I've got a passion now for nonprofit that I'm working on, all right? It can be a passion or something like that. So it can be health. It can be a health issue healing, all right? Anything that is in truth, that is in love, that is win-win-win with no losers, that's something you can use this on. But the difference with this program that we're offering today, and by the way, it's the cheapest full program we have ever offered at $97. I mean, goodness gracious, compared to 10,000, 20,000, 30,000, and they don't work, all right? And our $97 one has a 1-year, 365-day money-back guarantee for any reason. If it doesn't work, you're not out a penny, okay? And you'll know in a year, way before that, if you actually do it. But anyway, back to the old success codes, I'll call them, versus this new program that we're offering today. And by the way, if you purchase it, we're going to have another one of these live sessions, but it's not going to be me telling you about it. It's going to be, okay, now you've got the program. Let's start with A and go to Z and answer all your questions, tell you exactly how to do it, shortcut, troubleshoot, all of that. That's what the next one will be if you decide to jump in the pool with this program, all right? But here's the difference. You don't have to find which one of 24 codes or which one of 24 categories or issues to do in order to get rid of the junk and empower yourself to success. There's one super code for everything. And it's not a healing code only. It's a combo healing code and trilogy. It's way more powerful than the other. Now, the other works. It works really good. Plus, in the new one, the one we're offering now, we're also including a custom belief map. And belief map costs anywhere from $300 to $3,000. All right. And it is probably the most successful program we've ever done. And so we've done a custom belief map for success that we've never done before. And that's a part of this program too. So you get the custom super code that's not just a healing code, it's healing code and trilogy. You don't have to figure out which category it is. It's one super code for every success issue. So it's simple, Simon. And then you plot it and track it on the belief map and just watch the negative go away and the positive increase. All right. So I'm so excited about it because I know we're going to have people who have never been successful at something, whatever the success thing is that you want to work toward. And you will be with this because this follows spiritual principles where the 3-step blueprint for success of the success industry of the last 80 years, the reason it doesn't work is it violates spiritual principles, okay? This one doesn't. It follows spiritual principles. And I've been using this one-on-one with clients for about 15 years. Well, probably not that long. Well, belief mapping just came out like a year ago. So I've been using it with one-on-one clients with belief mapping for just a little over a year. All right. And the results have been 97% plus. The reason we say 97% is the people that we've worked with success, we've had about 3% that weren't successful. As best we can tell, at least half of those never did it the first time, maybe because they couldn't figure out which of those 24 categories they needed to do. With this, and I don't mean you're a dummy when I say this, it's just an expression, but this new one is pretty much dummy proof. Where the old success codes, you had to figure some stuff out, and it was not as powerful because it was healing code only, no trilogy, no belief mapping. Now you have healing codes, trilogy, custom supercode, belief map, everything you need. And then, like I said, once the promotion is over, we're going to have another one of these live sessions where we take you from A to Z and how to put it into action and actually realize that success in your life. Okay, so that's what I wanted to share. It took me 9 minutes, more or less, after the disclaimer, maybe 8 minutes. So that may be the fastest I've ever done anything like this. I tend to go on and on and on. It's my dyslexia and all that stuff. But anyway, did better than normal. Okay, so if you have a question, you can click the raise your hand button and I'll unmute you and let you speak. You can also type a question in the Q&A button below that says Q&A with the big question mark. Big hint. If anyone has a question or comment. And by the way, I'm recording this, so if you got here late, and a number of you have, got a really good crowd here. But if you got here late, we'll be sending the recording out probably tomorrow, the next day, along with the emails for the promotion. And you can watch the part you missed or watch a part again or whatever. All right. So no questions so far. There's one. I don't understand the question. The question is all your previous programs in this one program. No, that's not true. I believe this is an upgrade on our Success Codes program of that program. Not all of our programs. We've got a bunch of programs. But I do believe it's an upgrade over our Success Codes program. And I tried to iterate the reasons why. All right. Anyone else? Surely I didn't do that good a job explaining it. I rarely do. All right. Could this help with lifelong social anxiety? It absolutely can. If that's success to you, and I can see how it would be, yes, you can absolutely use it for that, and it should work great. Someone says, can you tell us a story about someone who's had success with this? I hadn't prepared any of those, but I remember a couple. I had a lady who had always she majored in a subject in college that really wasn't of a lot of practical benefit in her life. She majored in art, but she really didn't want to do art professionally. She majored in art because it was the easiest thing she could think of to major in. Okay. And now she was like 40 years old and she had tried like 20 different jobs. And about the only job she could get was like a receptionist or an assistant or something like that. And she wanted to do something that made a difference. And she'd tried several other success programs. I know for sure she told me she'd been to the Tony Robbins workshop twice. I think those are $10,000 each. They used to be. They may be more than that now. And nothing ever worked. And she did this program with me. She worked with me. And she started a business online with almost no money. She couldn't get a loan at the bank for money. So she did it on a shoestring. And 2 years later, it was a multi-million-dollar business. And she bought a new house, a new car, was traveling all over the world. It was amazing. And it was making things that she had been making at home that she was just selling to friends and stuff that they really loved. And she started producing them in mass and had a website and started marketing them. Now, she could have done that years before, but she didn't, and felt like she could not do it. One of the things about this program is as you heal this stuff and then work on empowering yourself, you'll get to a point where you will think and feel different. And what you'll think and feel is, I think I can do it. Well, that's all the difference. It was for that lady. She could have done that years before, but she didn't feel like she could do it. And she thought if she did, it would fail. And after working with me with basically this program, she got to a point, I think it was about 6 months later, she honestly felt, I think I can do it and I think it might work. And she did it and it did work. That was a cool one because she called me back and thanked me, which is always a big deal for me. Would this be different from the Beyond? Oh yeah, totally different from Beyond Counseling. Nothing to do with that. Someone asked, can we pick our success goal apart from the creators for us? That's a really good question, Mike. I'm not completely sure what you mean by that. If you mean a goal that's not in truth and love, I would say no, don't do that. Because even if you succeed at that, it will hurt you and possibly other people. So I'm not sure what you mean by the creator's goal for you. I think the creator's goal is that we live in love. So if this is saying I'm going to go away from love intentionally, I wouldn't do that either. And I wouldn't use this for that. But if you're talking about, maybe God has a purpose for my life, but I'm not sure what it is. And so I'm not going to wait till I'm 65. I've got to do something, for work or to contribute to society. I would say, yeah, you absolutely can use it for that. But if you figure out later, okay, I think God wants me to be doing this, I would certainly switch to that if it was me. Sorry, it's about the best I can answer that. Not a very good answer, probably. All right, anyone else? By the way, if you have friends that are not on our list that you think would like to become successful or more so, this is not necessarily a program we're going to keep offering. We might not. I'm not sure. I'm not going to commit to either way. But I promise you one thing, it'll never be cheaper than $97. Cheapest thing we've ever offered as far as a complete program. So tell your friends, $97. If it doesn't work, they get their money back for a full year. And we're going to make it super simple. One code, one belief map, success. We've got a 3-step blueprint too, but it's completely different from the success industry 3-step blueprint that has 97% failure rate. Ours has a 97% success rate. Really more than that, because most of the failures never did it. All right. I'm not seeing any other questions or comments right now. I'll give you just one more minute. Want to honor everyone's time here. I thought this would probably run about 30 minutes or so. Okay. Well, I'm going to say goodnight. And again, if you missed any part of this, it's recorded. We'll be sending it out with the future promos. I did have another question. If we sign up today, do we get the materials right away? Yes, you do. Yes, ma'am or sir. Anyway, we'll be sending this recording out with the promos. So if you missed part of this, you'll have that. If you want to tell a friend about it, just send them that email and they can watch this and read the email as well. So thank you so very much. Whether you get this program or not, God bless you and have a wonderful, blessed evening. Good night.